Hello and welcome to the Wet Palette Podcast. I am your host, Brenda Popritkin. Today I am welcoming the team behind Michelin-starred EntreNos. Hello, Chef Evan Burgess, and welcome, Osmel Gonzalez.
Hello.
Woo!
Hi, thank you for having us.
Why the name EntreNos?
Well, EntreNos was kind of like, we always said that it kind of started as a way of, because we were kind of like, talking about doing it, like, about like going around, like doing, a pop-up, which we didn't know if it was going to be something permanent or like temporary, but we were always like, I don't know, let's keep it between us, whatever. And then like EntreNos, we were not thinking about that to be the name back then, but then it came kind of like together when we were just like kind of putting together the concept and thinking it's like, what is it that we want this to be? And then we were like, okay, we want to work with like local producers. We want to like bring together kind of like the community, highlight what's happening here in Florida, Miami, not just with like farmers, but like artisans and like fishermen, and like we wanted to kind of like bring all this together. And then kind of like EntreNos kind of like came up as like, like a,
Entre nosotros.
Entre nosotros, it's like it's not just between you and I, it's between like this whole community, right? It's like it's a fisherman, the guests, the farmers, the ranchers, like the producers, everyone. So like EntreNos is the place where like you sit down and not just eat, but you get to see what's happening around you, because like everything that we do is sourced within like Florida.
So you kind of went into the next question, which was to describe the concept of the restaurant, which you kind of did a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to say about the concept versus the EntreNos name?
I mean, the concept is kind of, that's the idea. We wanted to, work with local producers and highlight what's here in Florida. We think that, there's like a lot of like beautiful things happening here. There's beautiful fish, there's like beautiful fruits and produce and like stuff that, we should be using more, like as chefs here in Florida. And we understand that, this might not be like, I don't know, like the infrastructure, it might not be there for you to use like some stuff that are from here, but it's kind of like you have to put like a little bit more of an effort to kind of like bring these things to a restaurant. But we're small, we got nothing to lose, so like we wanted to go for it, and like that was kind of like the idea, just to start, not just to use like avocados and mangoes,
Right.
but like to use like the sea grapes, to use like the fruits that are here, like I don't know, like that people don't normally get to eat, or like they see it but they don't know how to eat it, or they don't know how to use it, which most of them we don't even know either. Like we're just learning along this process. Yeah. So so that was kind of like the idea. Yeah, that was, let's just bring, like the fish that we can get from here from Florida, and show people that not only snapper and black grouper is good, like we can use a lot of other fish, and then that's what we've been doing, yeah.
And what are your immediate goals for EntreNos?
I think just to keep a healthy business for now, I mean, I think that's the goal. The goal was never any like accolades or anything like that. This was just a means to do something for ourselves. And so I think that being authentic to yourself and just doing what you want, I think that's the goal. If you can make it work, you make it work, and it's more fun that way, I think.
What? How did you connect with Tinta y Cafe to take over the space at night?
Well, it was kind of like interesting because we were just like, hey, let's just like meet up for coffee so we can talk about what we want to do. I was living in Coral Gables back then, so like the Tinta y Cafe Coral Gables was close to my house. Mm-hmm. So we decided to go there for the coffee, and then when we walked in, we kind of liked the space, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like the vibe that we like for the pop-up. So I was like, oh, let's see what the hours are, and we saw that they closed like at 5, and so I was like, okay, we might have a possibility here. So we just reached out right there, and then we was like, hey, like we want to do this. Well, how do you feel about that? And they're like, oh, send me an email, with more details, and then we'll talk, and that's kind of how it started.
Yeah, kind of luck.
That is pretty cool. So this was always supposed to be a pop-up, as you said, that has
Yeah.
now been extended for 6 months, more or less.
Yeah, it's been a year and
You're in like 3
4, 5
year
months.
3.
But like been
Yeah.
expanded, right? Like
Yeah,
because it was supposed to be until October, no?
It was supposed to be a year, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what is the plan moving forward? Is there anything to share yet? If you're staying, if
Well-
you're going, if you found something, if you didn't.
Every time a guest asks that, they're like, "What's the plan next?" I'm just like, "I'll let you know when I know." So
But you
that's-
won't, because you'll
that's-
just announce it. But we're getting the scoop here, no?
No, I mean the finding. I mean, obviously, like we're growing. You know, Tinta's growing. Eventually, like the pop-up has to finish. You know, in order for both businesses to sort of like eventually be able to grow into what they want to. Finding a location in Miami is quite difficult, especially since COVID. You know, I'm thankful. Like at the time, like during the pandemic, I'm thankful for the laws that we had in Florida. You know, I was able to do like everyone that I knew got fired. So I actually did like a very small pop-up that was not supposed to be permanent. It was only a 3-month lease. It was dumplings, you know, just something fun. But the laws allowed us to do that.
Right.
But then that meant that everyone came here. And so now it's years later, it's quite difficult to find a space. And everyone thinks that they have Times Square, you know, or a Times Square location. So the rent is overinflated. It's just craziness. So it's a little difficult to find a space, but
I know. Everyone Pines.
yeah.
Maybe. That's the I live there.
I like Pembroke
I
Pines.
know.
I
know, it's
grew
hard.
up near there, so. But I mean, it's not impossible. Like, don't get me wrong.
No.
It's not
But at least for
impossible,
now,
but
you can stay at Tinta y Cafe for now.
Mhm.
Like, keep
Yeah.
extending it. And so there's no, like, immediate plans that you, like, gotta go.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, that's good. So I was so happy to have been there when you received your Michelin star last year. Now that the dust has settled going into the next ceremony in a couple of months, give me a recap of how this year has been and, you know, Severus becoming a starred establishment.
I mean, immediately it was nuts. People booked in a day, but that didn't mean that for that day. That just meant, like, let's say 12 people booked that day, but it could be for today, tomorrow, a week from now, whatever
Right.
it was. From the point that it was announced till after we finished having a drink and left back to the hotel, 200 people had booked in that day. But then as time goes on, I think it's just, you know, a normal business. You have your busy days, you have your slow days. It's busy season again, so it's nice. I feel like Miami has a pretty hard slow season, maybe not in comparison to others, but I think we did relatively well during our slow season. I think it kind of, I don't know if the stars sustained us or if we sustained, like, the business itself, like the concept sustained it or the food, you know, but I think business is going pretty well, and I think we're happy with the numbers.
I dined, I think, like a month before the ceremony, I think. But I think you had also been added already as a, like, an upcoming, like an addition, but not like where you would land. And I remember you were like, so in October, we're gonna take a break, and I'm thinking, you're gonna take a break, and you go, and I'm thinking, that's not gonna happen, but okay. And then sure enough, I'm like, and then I went back and I asked you, I'm like, did you guys take the break? You're like, no.
Yeah,
no
no.
break. So hold your break. No break. Yeah, I figured, but now it's back to, like, you know, like a smooth, like a routine, like back to your new normal.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, some places have been on and off, like, you know, busy. A lot of restaurants I go to, I'm like, wow, we're like the only ones here. So, you know,
Yeah,
it's
it
a blessing if you know.
It happens sometimes. Like, sometimes it's weird. It's weird. Like, you'll be like slammed.
I mean, Miami's weird, but
Yeah, you'll be like slammed the day before, and then the next day you're like, where is everyone?
Yeah, there's days that are like just like dead, and you're like, what's going on? And it's the entire city. It's not just like,
is Taylor Swift in town?
Yeah, it's the entire city. It just goes like that. I was just like, okay, like, I guess that's how it is, you know. Which is weird. It's weird. It's just, I don't know. I guess we'll know how to we'll learn how to understand that with time, I guess. You know, but
I mean, Miami.
Yeah.
You both met while working at one of my favorites, as you know, Ariette, and I was probably there a million times while you were there. I was looking back at pictures and I'm thinking, yeah, for sure I was there. But to rewind, I'd like to go through a little bit of your bios before you met, because you met there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while they were stacked. So for Osmel, I have Matador by Jean George, Single Thread, Ariette, Stages in Spain's Disfrutar, La Botica, and then in Japan, Den,
Yeah.
and Akasaka Kikunoi.
Kikunoi, yeah.
Kikunoi. And then for you, Evan, I have Alter Area at Chicago's Band of Bohemia Boca next with Stages at Aquavit Smith and Grace. Okay, no big deal. So you started learning about cooking in Miami, Evan?
A little bit. I actually.
Correct? Culinary school here?
No,
No
I didn't
culinary school?
No, my Jewish mother would not have that.
It was.
In hindsight, I'm glad she didn't. But I wanted to go. So I had already gotten into FSU. But I wanted to go to CIA, and it just didn't happen. We had something. It was actually kind of cool. Florida prepaid, which is a pretty cool program. So you can basically like we moved in 2000. So you basically like can pay for school for the rate that it was in 2000 when I went to school in 2015. So I stayed at FSU, and then I worked there at a restaurant, some whatever restaurant there, and then I moved down here, and that's when I started working at Alter. So they should not have hired me, but I'm glad because I had like basically no experience. But I'm glad I did. Brad is a nice guy. He was nice enough to hire me. He said that I attached like photos of food that I had made to the back of my resume, and he's like, "That's the only reason I hired you is because I used to do that." So that it was nice of him. I still talk to him every once in a while, and then. After working there, and Seth, I love Seth. After working there, I moved to Chicago, and I started working at a few places there. Boca was the longest one that I had worked at. It was around 2 years. I loved it there. It was really cool. A pretty high volume for a 1-star. It's on a Friday night, 212 people. It's pretty busy. Like especially on hotline, you just get like punch drunk. It's just a very fast service, but it's pretty cool. So I was very appreciative of my time in Chicago, and then moved back down and went to Alter again. Then the pandemic hit, basically like a month or two later, and then I started working at Ariette. So it's basically like the short version of the timeline of it all.
That's amazing, and then you have an interesting dynamic where there's a lot of info missing with you because you don't just go from Cuba to single thread. Are you a Cuban spy? No. I think he's a spy.
I know.
How does that happen?
No. I mean, like, when I moved here, I had to do, like, whatever. I just had to, like, work to live, like any other, like, Cuban that's coming here or immigrant. So, yeah, that was, like, a 5-year period, I think, where I was just, like, I worked at a shipping warehouse, like I worked at the airport. I did like a bunch of different stuff, and then I found cooking. I didn't know that I like cooking. Like I never cooked before that. Like maybe just like things at home just to eat, because when I came by myself, so like I didn't have anyone to cook for me. So I was like 22 years old. So I had back then like a girlfriend that I kind of moved in with, and like we need to feed ourselves. So that's kind of how I started cooking. Then eventually my brother came like 3 years after that, and then when he came over, he started working with this. Was my aunt's neighbors. She had like a party rental business, so my brother started working with them, helping them on the weekends, and like every once in a while I'll go to make some extra money too. So we became friends, and one day she came to the apartment that I was living with my brother, and then just did like a like a barbecue at home, whatever. And she liked the food, and then she was like, "Oh my God, this is like good. Why don't we just add this to the business?" And then when people come to like rent stuff, we can just like sell them on the food too for their party, whatever. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, I'm doing it, like, right away, because that was kind of my way out of, like, working for everyone else and just work for myself. So I was like, yes, I'm doing it. So we started doing that. I opened kind of like a catering company with my brother. We were cooking out of an apartment, a one-bedroom apartment in Kendall, which that was, like, not very nice. But we did like very small weddings, like I don't know, 20 people, 30 people, nothing crazy. and then that's kind of how I like got into cooking. I was like, well, I really like this, and then I was going to the college. I was going to Miami-Dade, kind of learning English, blah blah. I wanted to do finance, and then I was like, wait, if I'm gonna do this, I need to learn how to do this because like, I knew I was not doing it like great,
You were
I was
hustling
like,
and doing,
yeah,
making it work.
like I'm like, okay, this is good, but like, I don't know what I'm doing right, so I was just like, I need to learn. And then I saw this like culinary thing program at the Miami College in downtown, so I kind of like switched from, I was just doing the AA, and then I just like went to do that, and I did that. While I was there, I started working at Matador. Then I quit my job at the airport, which took me too long to quit. I should have probably done that earlier. Yeah. But, back then I was kind of getting good pay, finally, after 5 years. So that was kind of a hard decision. But, like, anyways, I started working at Matador, and from there, I went to Spain. So, like, one of my...
That's why you did the...
Yeah. So, like, my chef from culinary school, he recommended me to go to Spain. So we did a 6 months internship at Difutar. Like, people normally go for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. We wanted to do more than that. So I did 6 months, which, like, was kind of crazy, but was awesome. Yeah. And then, like, we went for 6 more months to La Botica. And, like... Yeah. This is like Cami and I, like my wife, we were like kind of like dating back when we were at Matador, and then we decided to go together to Spain. So we went together to Spain. We did the 6 months there. We kind of worked every single station. We didn't want to leave for sure. Like at the end of the 6 months, we felt that we kind of like, we loved the space. We felt like part of like the team, So it was kind of hard to leave, and then we went into like La Botica. La Botica is a 1-star in the middle of nowhere. Matapozuelo is a very, very, very small town outside Valladolid. Obviously this is like more calm. It's not like this like crazy, like fast-paced restaurant like Difutar. So here you have to kind of like, I think like what we learned there was just to cook with love, So like now it's like, okay, forget about like everything that you were doing. Yeah. That was great. But now you have to like take a step back and kind of like, let's just put more time into.
But all those little experiences as molds.
So yeah, it was great because it was just two complete different experience. Like one was like a lot of discipline, which I loved and like still apply. Like there's like things that I do without even thinking that I learned there, and like, I'll probably do that for the rest of my life, that's kind of like something that gets impregnated in you. So that I loved. And then, like we learned how to cook, like with more like love, patience, at La Botica. And it was amazing because Miguel Angel, he's amazing. We were going out to like to the forest to kind of like, pick herbs, and like we were going to get like pine cones, and then we'll bring all this back to the restaurant, and like everything that we had at the restaurant was just from like the local community, like the 2 doors down we had the butcher, so like we were just getting the morcilla from the butcher 2 doors down. That was like, I think it was his cousin or something like that. And then like everything was just like within like, I don't know, like a 5-mile radio, like it's small. This is a very small town. And then, that was great because we learned like how to like cook with, the local produce, like not being so like refined, but being more on like about the flavors. And like we had like stocks going for like 3 days on a bilbaína, which is like a wood stove. And that was amazing, that was like another experience. Completely different from what we had in this Futar, but I also thought, we learned a lot from it. And then, our time was coming to an end, and then we had to come back here. So I was like, what are we going to do? I didn't want to come back to Miami because I was like, I was not seeing anything in Miami that I could come to learn, So I was just like, I want to keep like working on this like Michelin level. I want to keep working on Michelin star restaurants, learn more. So I was on Instagram, and then I saw that a post from Single Thread, which I didn't know anything about Single Thread. And I was like, oh my God, that's cool. I went into their profile and just like scrolling down, looking at the photos, and then there was a photo saying that they were hiring. Went through the link, kind of like sent an email through that link, and I sent my recommendation letter from this photographer, and I was like, hey, I'm in Spain, like I would love to like come in for like an interview or like stage.
Yeah, that's an
blah, blah, blah.
Disfrutar for sure.
And like, and I sent that in, and then a week after, I didn't know that they were gonna reach out to me. Like I was like, nah.
Did you coincide there with Pedro?
No.
No, you didn't. Okay.
No. So a week after, I got an email back saying that they wanted to have a phone interview with me, and I was like, okay, cool. So then, we had the phone interview. They wanted me to come in for a stage. So I was like, okay, we're going back. So we just changed flights. I think we just like moved them a little earlier. We were out of money back then. Like we were just like, we got no money. Yeah, things were starting to get a little rough for us because like we're not getting paid. It's been almost a year.
All those stages were just unpaid stages, or were any of them paid?
Unpaid. No.
They were all unpaid, including the 6 months in Spain.
Yeah. So like,
I usually know that's how it is, but
yeah. So like, at this point we're just getting, we have like very little money. We don't have enough to kind of like sustain ourselves. So we're like, okay, now I think it's time to go back. So, I came back to Miami, asked my parents for a flight. I need you to buy me a flight to California. Rent me a car and a hotel. And I'm going to stash a restaurant to see if they give me a job. And they're like, you're crazy. What are you talking about? We're going to spend all this money just to see if they're going to give you a job.
Right.
I'm like, let's do it. Don't worry about it. I'll pay you. So...
your parents have made it here already? Or?
Yeah. At this point, they were already here. So that's what I did. I went to California. I stashed at another restaurant because I was like, hey, let me just like not just go for one. So I stashed at Palo Alto. It's in Palo Alto. What's the name? Shoot. Man, I'll go back with that name. Amazing.
Michelin? No.
Yeah, they're like, they have 1 star back then. I think they still have 1 star. Amazing restaurant. Like, man, I loved it. Like, the energy, the food. Like, that was the first stash that I did. And it was like, awesome.
California in general has that vibe.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was just like, oh my God, like, I want to work here. Like, that's how I felt, And like, they offered me a job and they were like, hey, yeah, we would like to hire you. I told them that, I had another stash at Single Thread. They were like, well, like after your stash, just let us know what you decide. And then, next day, drove up to Harrisburg, stash at Single Thread as well. And then they offered me a job too. And I had to decide. I was like, well, now what do I do, right? So I felt more comfortable with the first one, because it was kind of a little more in the food that I have like seen before. Maybe, it wasn't like a challenge for me, or at least I felt that it was not like a challenge. And Single Thread was a challenge because it's like, this is Japanese food, like California Japanese, like I've never seen this before. Like, I'm like that kind of person that is like, if I'm uncomfortable with something, I want to get it done first. Like if I don't like this, I'm gonna do the things I don't like first, and then I do the easy stuff. But like the hard stuff, I want to do it first.
And you're on display there because I've been, and it's like I'm guessing there's a lot more going on than what I could see, but no one's talking, and it's like everyone glides in the kitchen, and it's so cool for me as a diner. But I'm thinking, I'm sure there's like things people are panicking about it. I don't know, but everyone's like methodical.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing to watch.
So like for me that was a challenge. I was like, like I wasn't really into like the like Japanese cuisine or anything like that, but it was not about that. For me, it was about like, they use donaves, which is the clay pots, the Japanese clay pot for the cooking. And like, like I was like listening to the story and learning on the story of these like clay pots and like the kaiseki cuisine and like the idea of kaiseki and the menu. And like, so like all of these was kind of like, okay, this is something I want to learn, that's kind of why I decided to go for single thread. And like, I mean, I think it was the best decision. Like we started there, I would say before September 2019, and then pandemic happened in 2020, and I think for us was kind of like the best place to be when pandemic happened. Like, yes, we were like, I think a month or something we didn't work, that I actually came back here to Miami, but then like, I went back, Cami and I went back, and then we started working at the farm, and then we worked at the farm for, I don't know, a month or something, and then we went back to the kitchen to do takeouts, and then the takeouts was a complete different thing, and like, it was just like, for me, it was awesome because we were just cooking a different menu every single day, and like, we're cooking for 400 people, and then we're just selling this food, and then we're also donating like 400 meals as well. So we're just like doing this like very high volume cooking in a fine dining kitchen that is not designed for that. So obviously there was a lot of challenges that came with it, but that's good. Like I like that, I like challenges. I like to like make things work. That's, I don't know, I guess that's a Cuban thing that you have to make things work. But that was fun, because every day was just like cooking a different thing. I was just like cooking like, I don't know, like 100 pounds of rice, which was just the entire day is just like watching rice, or just like grilling salmon, or like cooking duck. And like, that was like, for me, that was fun, and like, obviously, like, everything passed, and then we did the Ususan, which was like the tent. We built the tent on the parking lot to do like outdoor dining. And that was another amazing experience because it was a little more into like the home cooking, donave cooking. So we're cooking in the clay pots, and then it was just like a tasting menu, using the clay pots as kind of like the star of the meal. And then we went to another winery, so we were just doing dinners at a winery, which was kind of another crazy story because we're cooking behind a house in a tent, 100 degrees, California summer, crazy, and fires happening close to us, and we're there doing fine dining meals, and like, that was like another like challenge as well, but it was fun. It was a very fun time to be a single thread, and we learned a lot. We learned like, like we were sourcing from the farms. I love being outdoors, so like I would go to a farm very often. I was very connected, and Cami as well, and like we had an amazing time there for sure. Yeah. Then we had Siva, and then we had to come back to Miami.
Kids. And then your pandemic story, you were with Pedro.
Yeah, we were at Altar together, and
I found some of those photos. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was a while ago, and I mean, everyone got laid off. And so I just went over to his house, and like he had gotten a new grill, so he was like making wings, and then I had made dumplings. I had worked like a lot of pasta stations, so I just knew how to like roll pasta, and so then we were just like, let's just do this, and then it was kind of like the same thing, like let's just do like the pop-up, let's go to a cafe, see if they let us do it on their off hours. A lot less space required for that. Compared to like what we do now, a lot less space because we did a lot less covers.
Right.
Because also no one was going out back then. I mean, everyone was. It was like the heart of the pandemic, so everyone was kind of like afraid a little bit. But we did okay, and it was nice. It was nice. It was a way to give us a little cash while we weren't getting anything, and I think I had fun.
Yeah. Pedro, for those of you who don't know, is the chef owner of Kojin in Coral Gables. You could watch that interview, season 1, episode 21. I love them over there. So then you both end up at Arietta around the same time? I thought it was different times.
No, it's
because
different
it's
times.
right after.
Different times, yeah.
Oh, it was. Okay.
I was there for, I don't remember what year I started. I went there after I did the dumpling.
Right.
But I think I was there for 2 years. But yeah, definitely 2 years. I don't know if it was like 2 years and a few months or 2 years on the dot, whatever it was. But I was there. I was there for 2 years. I was there before Michelin even announced that they were coming to Miami.
Right.
But, yeah.
But you were there when the star was announced.
Yeah. I was
I was looking through a picture.
Yeah,
of
no.
the history.
I think
which is cool.
I think I was sous chef by that point. By the time by the time we got the star, funny enough, with my fiance, and we were actually thinking about moving. I wanted to go to DC. I really like DC, and then Michelin announced, "Oh, we're coming to Miami," and I was like, maybe we should just stay.
Yeah. Yeah, like we're in the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we would have, even if we moved, we would eventually move back. If we have kids, like we're moving back here.
Yeah.
She's got
That's the
both
thing.
our
You're
both of our
like-
parents are here.
Right.
You know, so it's for the better that we stayed.
Yeah. And then Osmel, you went from single thread to Ariete, no? Because I remember hearing, at least I remember hearing this guy from single thread's coming.
Yeah, yeah, like, yeah, I was coming. We decided to come back to Miami because we had a daughter, so it was kind of hard, both being chefs, to be in the kitchen. So we just kind of needed some like family support. So we came back to Miami. I was just like thinking, well, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Back in Miami. So like I had the idea. I was just like doing like something similar or of a pop up or something like that. Like Cami and I, they were just like, oh, like Cami, maybe we just do this. Like 3 days a week only ourselves. Like maybe family can take care of Siva those days at night, and then. We'll find a way to do this, and we thought that was possible.
Your wife cooks too?
Yeah, we both chefs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's why I was saying that we were into disfrutar together. Like we did the whole like stash together there. We've been working together since we met. Like we met at Matador. She was like doing pastry back then, and then like she did like savory with me in disfrutar.
Where's she now? With you guys? No,
she's with us now.
Okay.
But like she's not in the kitchen. She's like she's managing all the other like the back ends. Like the numbers, HR, accounting, all of that. But yeah, she's with us now. So yeah, I mean, I was coming back, didn't know what to do, and I reached out to Beltran. We met before in California. So I was like, hey, I'm looking for a spot that I could do this like pop-up thing for like 3 days a week. Do you know anyone or any space that that I could, a person that I could talk to or whatever? And he goes like, well, I actually need a CDC. Would you be interested? So I was like, okay, let me think about it. And I was like, well, maybe this is an opportunity for me to kind of come back to Miami. Obviously, like no one knows who I am. Like I've been away, like I haven't like really cooked that long in Miami. So like this is the time to kind of come back and like kind of learn a little about Miami, which I don't know anything, I guess. Back then I didn't know anything. So so I took the job. Yeah, I came to do the stash and then took the job.
What motivates you guys daily?
Fear. Fear and anxiety.
For me, it's just I don't know. It's passion, I guess. I do what I do because I love it. And I don't think I could do anything else now. I've done so many things in my life that at this point it's like if I'm not cooking, I don't think I could be doing anything else. I have to cook. So, yeah.
Fear of what?
No, I was just messing.
I'm like, fear of what? The bills? Or
No, I mean, I think it's the same thing. When I left Ariete, it was like 2 months or so before we opened up, and I was like losing my mind. And my fiance's like, "You need to freaking work. You need
do
to
something."
Well, we were
Yeah.
planning it, so it was just like, so I'm definitely not I cannot sit at a desk and do anything. So and I've been doing this long enough where it's just like there's nothing really else that I want to do. I think the little things kind of excite us. It's like what to do with certain ingredients. I feel like a lot of the times it ends up being fruit for some reason because it's just something that's so not in. You don't do it a lot in savory cooking, and we do the pastries, but we also incorporate fruits and from time to time in the savory dishes. But I think it's the cool stuff like sea grapes. I remember distinctively in Oz's house in Homestead, a 30-minute discussion. We had already processed the sea grapes. We had no idea what we were doing with them. Not a clue. A 30-minute discussion, borderline argument of what the hell we were going to do with, and not just me and him. Me, him, and Cami are just trying to figure out what the hell to do with these sea grapes, and we just settled on sorbet, and it turned out really well. But like we had a guest come back like months later after I went off the menu. Do you have any sea grape left? We had one portion of sea grape left that we were like saving for a snack and we just gave it to her as we're just like, here, have it. But I think it's like those like little things that excite us. It's like we do something, and then it's like, where is it going to actually go? You know, which tends to happen a lot. Whether it's like the fruits or the fermentation, fermentation tends to happen like that a lot. Like where it's just we make something and then we'll figure it out later. So I think it's like those little things that kind of are fun little chess games as to how, because you already paid for it, you got to use it. You know.
Right. Figured I can throw it out. What is that? I had a dessert that had the tortitas de morron, but like.
That was the tomato sorbet.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
like I remember, that's one of the ones that I'm like, I remember that. And you were explaining, I'm like, what? That's so good.
Yeah, that one's like, we had a lot of. I mean, the whole reason that dish and then subsequently the frita oysters went on is because we had so much lard. We were just building on it. It's like one of those things where you make it, you'll figure out what's pork fat, lard, tallow, schmaltz, all that stuff. Doesn't really go bad as long as you process it properly, get rid of all the water and whatnot. So it's kind of like one of those things that you can sit up on for a little bit, and then you're like, we have no space. We have no space. Like, let's do something with it. I mean, I remember I gave it like 1.5 quarts, 2 quarts to a friend. He's like, hey, I like cooking with pork fat or beef fat. Like, do you have any? And I was like, here, take it. We have too much. Like, I just gave it to him. Probably like $50 worth of. So it's like, you just build up on stuff, and then that's why like those dishes kind of come on. Like we had pork trim, so we made frita, and then we had the lard, so then that's kind of like what we whipped it with, and all this stuff. So it's like that's kind of how a lot of dishes come to be. But that's kind of what I also think is exciting. You know.
That was definitely successful. What are your strengths and weaknesses together?
I think coming up with something on the fly. And a lot of times, I think a strength is like, I'm not necessarily talking like with an allergy.
Oh.
But like a lot, we don't have the ability. Like, I wish we had the ability to kind of be able to make something
Just
extra on the fly.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like, hey, we didn't get this in because a bug ate all the crop, so we were planning on this. Let's pivot and do something. So I think that's kind of like a strength, is kind of just like figuring out what to do on the fly, and it usually I think turns out pretty good. And then a weakness is running the books, not the financial books, the keeping track of the reservations.
I mean, I wouldn't see it as a weakness.
No.
I just see it as
You're using one system now or two? Or no?
we have
One.
one.
I was just half joking.
It's just like, you know, I don't think it's just like EntreNos is a difficult place. You know, like we're pop up. We don't own the space.
Right.
We cannot be there the hours that we should be there.
That's true.
The people that we hire can only be there a certain amount of hours. We cannot have them come earlier to do anything because obviously the cafe is open. So this kind of like puts a limitation on like the things that we can do. And this is like one of the things that we have a limitation of, right? Because we're not going to ask someone, hey, can you just like fix the books from your house? You know, we kind of did that or tried to kind of work something like that, but like that didn't work out. So that's kind of like the limitations that we have, the limitation that we have is that we are pop-up. Everything is limited, every single thing is limited. It's like, it's not the same thing when you can just open the door of your restaurant at like 6 a.m. and then just like close them down at 12 at night. Right. It's like, no, I got to wait until 5 p.m. to open that door. And then I have an hour and a half to stop for service, So it's like, I don't have the time. So time is our limitation. I'll say like our weakness is time.
Yeah.
That's what we don't have. And what we need is to be able to have time, time for people to be in there to do the job.
Oh, yeah, you got to prep.
I was only
time for us
with the books thing because it was like the day after Valentine's was like a surprise to us because we're looking at the books for Valentine's Day, and then we just press the arrow next, and I'm like, That many people? All right.
Because people like me say,
Yeah.
well, I'm not dining out on
Exactly. No,
Valentine's Day. I'm going to go the next day.
Well, these are the things
Yeah.
these are the things that you learn, like running your own restaurant, is just like the patterns of people, like what we were talking earlier about, like why is this day so slow, but the day before was like crazy.
Yeah,
it's
just
like one of those things that you learn, like, oh yeah, well, like now, like I get it, it makes sense, because half the notes on the reservations for the day after are Valentine's Day, celebrating Valentine's Day, but they're all the day afterwards because they didn't want either Valentine's Day on Friday, they're getting back to work, the crowd, the this, the that. So
service.
So that's why I made the
supposed
joke
to
of
be
like,
awful.
oh, the weakness is the books, but it's just like it's
Thursday too. I'm sure you don't have like, because Thursday it's the same thing. Let me just get in there before Valentine's.
Yeah,
No,
we're
it's-
busy.
it's
Exactly.
busy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the problem. It's just like, even if we wanted to hire, let's say that I want to have a little more free time, so I can train someone. Right.
Yeah, when like at midnight or 1 o'clock.
No, like let's say in the middle of service, right? I can be in the middle of
right.
service, just like training someone, or like looking at the dining room to see, what the server is doing, what the food runner is doing, or like what people is doing, so I can be like, hey, like let's do it this way, or let's do it that way, or I like what you're doing. Let's, now we're gonna follow what you're doing. These things, right? So like for me to be able to do that, I need someone to cook, because I'm the one cooking every night, right? So we're the ones cooking every night.
Yeah.
For me to be able to do that, I have to hire someone to cook. I cannot hire anyone to cook because I don't have space where to put this person to work. I literally don't have. So the person that can only hire has to come in like an hour before service to set up the station and work. That's it. They cannot come in to do any prep or anything like that because there's no space for that. So like we are limited also on like being able to hire people.
Right.
So it's kind of like, we know that there's a lot of stuff that we need to work on and fix, but we're hand tied because we cannot leave what we're doing because we not able to hire people to do that job for us to be able to fix the other stuff. So it's
it's a vicious cycle. It's a loop.
Yeah, it's a loop. It's a loop that you're in onto. You kind of move into your own space, and then you're able to fix all of that.
Yeah.
So we're trapped.
Be like, freedom.
Yeah. Now we're trapped
As
into
good
this.
as this has been
like,
to you, I get it.
It's like you want to do things better, but like to be able to get there, you have to start by that.
Yeah, I think the two things are time and space.
Yeah.
Time and space is really
hard.
what it is.
Yeah. What about personality-wise? Like who like excels at like this, and then the other person takes that like weaknesses and strengths. Like you're stronger with this, so then I'll take this.
Yeah. Well, Evan is a little more like calm and like cautious, I'll say. I'm more like
methodical, more like.
Yeah, he's like more cautious. He's like
I don't know. Maybe this is because my mom is just like, she's more just like, I'll give you a decision in a second, which is both good and bad. I've not, like one is not, it's different sides of the coin,
Yeah.
So, I think I interrupted you. Go.
Yeah, no. That's basically like he's a little more like cautious and calm. So he's like, he'll take 3 days to take a decision. I do it on the spot. Like you tell me something, I like it. I'm like, let's go, let's do it. I'm doing it. Like I'm like that. Which is good sometimes, but sometimes it's not.
Right.
So
I wish I was more like that. I mean, I strive to take my time and reacting and.
But the flip side of the coin is indecisiveness when you take too much time. Yeah. So I mean, I think it plays out good. I think like in the confines of work, like the literal job, not saying strengths or weaknesses, but in terms of potential edit out part. Can I talk about the lack of a server? Or do you want
the server?
How I'm the server? Or do you want to leave that out?
Whatever you want.
All right.
You let me know.
No. So, again, I'm diverting from your question, but I'm answering it at the same time.
This is this is your podcast. I want it to be whatever you want to talk about.
So, Oz works on grill, right? And then we have Nico, who also works on grill, and then we have Victor, who works on Garmo, and then I work on Garmo. But so let's just pretend normal service is like my job is plating, cooking, setting tables, clearing tables, and expo. So that's normally, and we both run food. I would say I run a majority of the food, but I think that's also because I've worked grill too, like when he's gone or when there's a second or whatever. And it's just like that station, like you don't have time you know.
Yeah.
So it's just the name of the game, and so because of that, we have no server right now. So because of what I normally do, I'm filling in for front of house because I spend more time out in front of house. So I wouldn't say I'm not, aside from strengths and weaknesses, I think that that's kind of like the how we're like organizing ourselves. And then because our server, she's helping her dad with surgery. So right now I'm the server at EntreNos. And then Oz is kind of like during service. Now he's like, then he fills in all the other stuff. He's setting tables, he's expoing, he's doing all the things. So it's just like now we have I think the strength of the company is the two people that are running it can like sort of pivot into whatever position is really needed. We all know everything, you know. We all know how to do everything, but the other person knows how to do something a little bit more. So at least if one of us is gone, we can do the thing, and then if someone else is gone, one of us can do that thing, whatever that position is. So I think that's a benefit of being small, I would say, you know, for all the negatives that being small and having to be the delivery driver, the line cook, the dishwasher. Well, not so much the dishwasher anymore, thanks to Hefe. But the chef, the server, like having to literally be all those positions. The benefit is that you can control those things, you know. So for every positive there's a negative. So at least
has it happened yet that one of you got sick and couldn't come in?
I got back surgery, so I was
back surgery.
Yeah, I had a it's called pars defect. So they replaced my disc, and so that was in September. We closed the restaurant for 2 weeks, and then I was supposed to be gone for 3 months. I came back 3 weeks, and in a limited capacity. But yeah, so it has happened that one of us gets sick. Like on a smaller scale, like we have like gotten sick and the other person's filled in. A child was born, so the other person, you know, like, so good things happen. The good things happen where someone has to not be there. So that's that's a good thing. So yeah, but I mean, we make it work like this. Like, we'll do whatever we need to make the thing work, and that's basically what it is. And we have like good employees that want to do good and have a great personality. Victor and Steph and everyone, and they step up and they do the thing. They have a good attitude. You know, Steph walks in every day screaming, "Let's make this bread," you know. So it's fun.
Who do you think's greatest chef of all time that you like look up to?
That's difficult.
That's a difficult one because you like different attributes of what they do, you know. I mean, I love Rene Redzepi, you know. Yeah. I love what he's done for the culinary world. Mm-hmm.
Have you dined? Have you gotten to dine?
No. I don't think I'll ever make it there.
Why?
Because they're closing.
Every time they say they're closing, they come back with like a 3.0 and a 4.0, and I don't believe anything.
Well, I mean,
to me, it's like the best. It's the best marketing ploy ever.
That's true.
The last announcement, if you read the fine print, that they were closing 2.0 or whatever 0.0 they were at, but we will be in Japan for 3 months, and then we will be, and I'm like,
it's like in Meet the Zohan when they open up the store that's going out of business, but the store is called going out of business.
Oh, so I'm waiting for them to completely like. So yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so
maybe they're becoming like research facility, but I love what they do. You know, I think that then you have like people like Marco Pierre White, who is like, I mean, he made cooking sexy, I would argue. Then you have like Sean Brock, who's like, I mean, everything that he's done, trying to like highlight Southern cuisine, which is great. I mean, I'm Jewish American. You know, so it's not like Southern cuisine is not my world, but I really appreciate it and I really love it. So I think that's cool. What like an amazing what he does. So there's all these chefs that I think that like I admire. I don't think there's necessarily like one person that's like, this is my favorite.
Right? No, like fair enough.
I mean, there's like so many like amazing chefs that have done like, you know, amazing things. You know, from like, I'll say old school, new school, you know, like it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick one. And I'll say it's also hard to pick one because like if I didn't have the food, how can I say that You know, I only know
Yeah,
what
but
I
you could
heard.
be
I only
inspired
know
by
from the
maybe
a
books. Yeah.
cookbook or,
You know, like that's but like
or the
I only know from
movement
the
or-
books and from the movement or from these, but it's like it's kind of hard to say. You know, I would say that there's been like amazing chefs, and I think there's more coming up every day, and I just think that I don't know. It's just hard to pick one. You know, I think the chef community has become more. I don't know, like more like together and there's like so many like collaborations and amazing things happening. So like, you know, now you get to see a lot more than you were like seeing before. You know, which is great. So like, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to pick one person. Yeah.
I think like on what I was saying, like like the community has gotten closer. Like I said, like I listen to like a lot of I listen to a lot of comedian podcasts because I just like to have like a nice little laugh in the car. And what they talk about a lot is how in the older like maybe like 1980s 1990s everyone was like fending for themselves. It was the mentality of if you do good then I'm going to suffer. And then now everyone has everyone on their podcasts. Everyone is benefiting, so like they're sharing the wealth.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a mentality that the chef community has also adopted, where it's not like, oh, don't go to that place or this or that. It's like we go up to guests all the time, like, do you need, like, that are out of town, do you need any recommendations? Here's where to go. So I think it's gotten nice. I think the chef community in Miami is kind of growing, and I think like that and also you're coming up with people that you've worked with in the past, like we talked about earlier with Nico and Tere from Recoveco, but then you also had
soon to be on an episode of the Wet Palette podcast.
Yes. Listen in. Then you have like people like Alex and Lucci from Boyade, who supported us for a really long time. And it's a nice little community. Seth from Alter, he was on the phone for how many hours with us at one time, just trying to go over some stuff. So
different.
It's really cool.
People have different, I'll say, strengths, and right. So like, for example, I don't know. Let's say a chef in France has 3 Michelin stars, right? But like a chef here in the United States has maybe like 1-2 stars, but has 20 restaurants that are like successful, right? That one has only 1 restaurant and has 3 stars. This one has 20 and it's successful. That's 2 different things, right? But like they're all both amazing, right? How can you just like focus on one thing and that's that one thing only and take it to like the maximum level and have these 3 stars and be always consistent and be always like, food quality, service, everything being on point and amazing all the time. But then you have this other chef that it's able to have 20 restaurants that are running, maybe not at a 3-star level, but they're running every single day and they're successful and the guest is coming back. And like, for me, that is also amazing. How can you run 20 restaurants? How can you have 20 restaurants, and like keep them alive and like have all these like, I don't know, team, because you need a team of like people to be able to do things like this. How can you keep how do you build a team like that? How do you keep this team always like focused and like with energy and like wanting to do more and more every day? So it's like that is another thing that is like, okay, like if I'm gonna choose who's the greatest, like, well, this one because has 3 stars, this one because have 20 restaurants, it's like it's kind of hard, So it's like maybe this person is more on the business side, but it's like it's also amazing. That one is in the cooking side, so it's kind of like that too. But for me, it's more like like you see like the Daniel Boulou, the Jean George, the Thomas Kellers, like like you see these names and you see what they do, and it's like it's amazing. Like
and
for example,
still,
like
there.
Like
still,
like,
I love John George is one of my
Matador
favorites.
is for us was like that's where I learned how to cook. Like,
I'm happy to hear you say that because I always kind of blow off Matador, or I did. I always have. And the only time I only went a couple times, and one of them was a South Beach Food and Wine Festival event because he was going to be there. And then another time, but I figured, he's never really here for that one. Yeah. So that's one that I never went to. But I'm happy to hear you say that Did you work with Jeremy while you were there, or no? That was after his time.
I started working there I think it was like a month or two after he left.
After he left, okay.
But there was like the energy was still within the building, like.
And they're still open. Every time somebody tells me I'm gonna go to Matador, I'm like, no, don't. But
we go every once in a while. Yeah, we go.
Really?
I mean, for us, it's kind of like that's where
different.
Cami and I met. Like this is a place we met. We had like amazing time. We had an amazing time there. We have like so many good memories. So for us, it's not just about like the food.
Yeah.
It's also about the space. Like the place. So. So whenever we can, we go. Yeah, we go. We like it. Like, hey, the other day we
Thank you.
we took a night, actually like one night, and we was just like, okay, let's go to a hotel or something just for us, and we just left the kids with the grandparents, and then we went to a hotel, and then the next day we were okay, let's just grab lunch before going to work, and we went to the there's a lunch. There's a lunch spot in the same hotel. It's all like by John George, and we had lunch there. So I sat down. I was like, I just got a coffee first, and then I said, okay, let's get a lunch. I was just like chicken, mashed potatoes, and broccoli, a chicken Jew. And I was like, I kind of want that. And Camille was like, really?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, why not? I'll take this. And I had it, and it was so good. And it was just like,
and it was
my
just like
God.
basics.
It's basics, but
basics.
like.
Well, you can make the basics.
But that is the thing,
Yeah.
It's like how you as a chef can have 20 different restaurants where you go and have a simple food, simple, delicious, but that food is delicious all the time, So it's like, how can you make that happen? So like that's why I admire from them. It's like, yes, I'm not going here because I'm expecting a 3-star meal. No.
Right. No.
I just want to get a chicken and a mashed potatoes and broccoli, but it's gonna be great. Like the Jew is gonna be delicious. The broccolis are gonna be like nice, beautiful, crunchy. Like the chicken is gonna be cooked perfectly. It's like that is what I'm looking for. Like a nice, perfect, simple meal. And this is what these people are doing, So it's like it's hard to kind of keep that. Obviously, like
I'm happy to hear it. I'll definitely consider it again because I had stopped going like to Matador ages ago in that whole area. I never.
Yeah, again, like this is simple. Like you're not expecting it, and I'm sure it's gonna be great days, and I'm sure there's gonna be days that are not gonna be that great. Like that happens everywhere. But for me, it's just.
But even his tin, what is it called? Tin Market. He has this new. It's like a market in kind of like an Italy, but like tiny, like smaller, and it's in New York, and different concepts. It's inside, but every concept is done so well. So and actually it's funny because the last time we went, Larry and I walk in, and he's literally standing there giving an interview, and of course I'm like, oh my God, it's John George. I'm like, but he's like, let's go say hi. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm too cool. I didn't want to be that person. Inside, I was that person. I was like, oh my God, but we just walked by. We're like,
they came for the.
Like, hey, chef. We just kept walking.
They came for the food and wine once, and I helped the ABC kitchen chef and came with him.
There,
freaking smart guy.
I haven't done ABC but I've done ABC.
Man, that was so good. Like.
And the fried chicken was my favorite, actually, at ABC Kitchen. Now you were talking about chicken.
Well, sorry, actually, it's the vegan one, ABC.
Oh, the vegan one. Okay, I haven't done that one.
The vegan. And we had this. They did this like vegan lunch, and I was helping them with the prep and whatever. And I was just like, oh my God, like it was like 2 days, and I learned so much from them. It's just like so like they're like so organized.
Yeah.
They're like so.
They were supposed to open an ABC here right before the pandemic, and the door, in the design district, I think it was, and the door had a little bit of the signage already, kind of like coming soon, and then maybe they'll still do it. But
they're doing a residence now, like they're building like a John George residence
I saw that.
in like Midtown.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it's in a random corner by the train station.
Yeah.
Super luxury. Anyway, what are some of your restaurant's pet peeves when dining out? Or are you just so like, I just want to eat a chicken and then be left alone?
No, it's as of recently, just like with such lack of time, like we only go, like I don't tend to go out unless it's like a place that like I want to go eat. just because if I'm gonna go out and spend my money, I'm gonna make not necessarily nice, but like I just want to go to like somewhere that I like, you know. Like I've been frequent on Walrus Rodeo. Like that tends to be like our place that we go to a good bit. I mean, just the normal service stuff. Like like that sort of tends to be the pet peeve if someone's not super attentive, or if I've asked for something like 3 times, you know, I'm usually pretty easy breezy, where like I will never send anything back, like ever, pretty much. So I'm pretty simple when I go out. I don't have too many pet peeves when it comes to just like going out. I just like want to relax and like if I'm happy, if it's good, I'm happy. You know, I'm glad I got out of the house. So I can't think of anything right now because I haven't had like a really like bad dining experience in like quite some time. So
good.
So
yeah, I mean, I avoid the bad dining experience as well. So it's like
Yeah,
I know where I should go. And
so like you kind of know. Like,
yeah, I know where I should go and where I shouldn't go, or at least I try to know. So yeah, I mean, it's same thing. Like I live in Homestead, so for me it's kind of hard to come out here in Miami to eat or to dine. It's just like we have when we do, we choose a spot that we want to go, you know, and we know it's gonna
like
be
a solid, like one.
Yeah, like you know, we went the other day when was last Monday we went to Vice Versa, and it was like amazing.
That's
like
next on my list.
Yeah, that's
they're
great.
closed on Sundays, and a lot of times I want to go Sunday or Monday, and then they're actually.
I want to go back to
Monday. We went on Monday, and it was like amazing. We had a good time.
The days that were open.
Yeah, and they were like
the
packed.
same.
They were packed.
Sure.
Yeah,
As it
it's
should
like
be.
full. I love that. I love walking into a place, and it's like a restaurant. It's like full of people, a bar, you know, full of people like that. So, yeah.
I like walking in before it gets packed.
Yeah.
I like walking in, and it's like, and then I like seeing it grow.
Seeing it grow, yeah.
Because I like that. Like, okay, I got the good seat. I got the good spot.
Either way,
Yeah.
I like it when it's
and then I'm
busy.
like, okay, this
Yeah.
is now. It's nice. I like
Yeah.
when it grows.
Seeing it,
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes we dine early on purpose because we're far, and then if we
Yeah.
start at 8, what time are we getting home? But that happens, you know. You start seeing it grow. At first, we're like, "There's no one here," and then we're like, "Oh yeah, it's 6:00." Not yet.
Yeah.
But then it starts growing. Yeah, I like
Well,
that too.
I like it also because then, so you start off. I like to eat early, for the most part, and so like you go there, you start off, and you have a glass of wine. It's relaxed. There's not many people in there because if you're like one of the first people to get in, and then by your 3rd, 4th, 5th glass of wine, feeling a little something. Now the energy's different, so then it feels
It's
like
true.
it feels like you went up with the energy. It feels nice.
I do like that. That does happen naturally, and I like
Yeah.
that. What is something we guests do that you dislike, or
Say
that?
it again?
What is something that guests do that you don't like or annoys you, or, you know?
I don't like to talk too much about that for a specific reason of like if someone's watching this, like I don't want like those are the people that pay your bills. Like you don't want to talk
It's true,
bad about them.
But shit still happens.
Stuff does
Yeah.
happen, but I think it's like your job to kind of like mitigate.
Yeah, it's how you recover from it. then,
Yeah, I think it's just about talking to them. I mean, like there's things that guests do that necessarily like, but it's just like something like that you just don't know. Like the guest doesn't
I'll
know.
rephrase it. How can guests be better guests?
I think by being more informed, you know, of like, you know, I get it too. It's just like some people they just want to go out eat and that's it. You know, like they're hungry, they just want to be fed.
Right. I heard
Right.
this place is good, so I'm just gonna go.
That's it. You know, like, but it's always good to know like where you're going. You know, like what's going on, right? So like we had, I don't know, like a while ago we had a couple that came in. And then they asked for water. I mean, they got a bottle of water, and they got up and they wanted to leave. And we're just like, what's going on? Why are you leaving? It's like, this is not what we expected. So, well, they probably thought there was a one Michelin-starred restaurant that was like beautiful and like whatever, you know, like they didn't expect that it was a pop-up in a cafe. So they were not comfortable with that, which is fine, you know.
You
like
think that's what it was, or they told you that?
they didn't
they-
say anything. This is
'cause
this
I
is
don't
what
think-
we think.
I
No,
don't think
was it you that talked to them or
I asked them.
Okay.
It's like I asked them. I was like, hey, like you know what's going on? I said, oh, this is not what we thought it was going to be. You know,
Okay.
like so. What I'm getting from that is like you haven't tried the food,
Because I think it's super vibey regardless of it being a cafe.
Yeah.
Like, especially at night when the lights are dimmed and like...
but you know, like
okay.
some people maybe just want more stuff, you know. They want something a little more like, I don't know, like shiny
want it
or
like-
whatever. Like
white tablecloth.
yeah,
inside.
white
Michelin
tablecloth.
white tablecloth.
Yeah, stuff like that, you know. So like,
Good luck going to Boyardee.
I mean, they were
Yeah.
like they were like grandparents' age, and my grandparents are like
Yeah,
the
they
same,
were-
the same vibe.
Yeah.
You know, if
Oh,
it
okay.
wasn't for the fact that it was my like restaurant, they would be much more hesitant to continue their meal after
I
sitting
get
down.
that.
But they're very old school. They're
Okay.
you know, they love New York or New Orleans, like Commander's Palace, the white tablecloth,
Got it.
other stuff. So I think
yeah, and it's like, even if you, let's say, even if you didn't do, or like you didn't kind of like research or whatever where you're going, like at least be open to kind of like learn a little bit once you get there, right? Because it's just, you cannot just judge a place just by walking in, looking at it and be like, okay, no. I'm like,
Right.
well, you
I think
don't,
I've
you
left
don't
a
know.
restaurant like once.
Yeah,
Like
you
that.
don't know what's going on here, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you're going to. We have so many people that come to a cafe and they're like, we blow their minds and they're like, what is going on here? Like, how can this be happening inside a cafe? And I was like, well, that can happen anywhere, you know. Like you can have good food anywhere. You don't need a tablecloth to be able to
Yeah.
have good food, you know. So I don't know. It's just people just need to be a little
That's
more like
mind-blowing
open
to me. Imagine,
to
like, leaving your house to
communication,
go
you know.
Saturday night and then
Yeah.
you didn't research where you were going. Like, you know,
And the thing is, like, the funny thing is, like, okay, you're deciding to leave. Where are you gonna go?
right. Especially if it's a weekend night.
Yeah, like, let me ask you something. Where are you
and then
gonna
knowing
go?
that some place like
You
mediocre or
whatever
whatever,
you're
yeah.
gonna go now that you're
Yeah.
gonna be able to sit down,
Right.
it's never going to be good
Yeah.
because they're not
Yeah.
good. That's why they're empty, right? So every good place is full right now. So like, don't do that. You know, like you're
Yeah.
making a mistake.
I can see sometimes people look at a menu and then they're like, "Oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
that's not what we thought." You know,
Mhm.
I've
Yeah.
been. That's like Silver Lake Bistro. I don't know if you've been.
Where?
Mhm.
Silver Lake Bistro. It's also like in the middle of nowhere, like like Normandy area,
Mhm.
and it's not inexpensive, but it's not expensive. It's kind of like
Yeah.
same kind of like your price range, but because it's in the middle of Normandy, the beach, like people think it's just a little cafe. They're gonna go in and get a $14 burger, a $13 burger, And I see them. They come in and we're just laughing because we're like but they're slammed, And they walk in and they're like, "Oh no, it's not what we thought," and they're just like
Yeah.
walk right out. Or they walk in, it's slammed, and they're like, "What do you mean we can't sit?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Man, you needed a reservation." They're like, and they get all mad because you needed a reservation,
Yeah.
Like, but I guess it's that, like, because you guys are also in like in a little middle of nowhere, like a little quieter area,
Mhm.
right? Not like buzzy, just like them. So that happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean that's also
Yeah.
a thing. It's like you're going to a place that is like out there.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
nothing around right
There's
now.
nothing else going on.
It's
It's
such
like
a cute area. I like it there.
yeah,
I
like
mean, it has
too.
potential.
It has
I know.
potential. There's a lot of resident. It's like quiet money there. Like the houses are selling for $2 million.
Yeah. Hmm.
But it's not flashy.
No.
And so there's a good residential area, and I think that you can make that area grow. But at the same time, sometimes, not that I wouldn't want that area to grow because I
Yeah.
want people to like do well. But I just mean like that. I just look at other neighborhoods in Miami over the years, and then like the growing
Yeah.
it makes the area not what it once was, and not it's just like okay,
I know. Yeah.
off to the
yeah.
next up and coming thing. So sometimes I think it's nice that some places stay up and coming.
Yeah. I like it.
Sounds a little cynical, but I think
No,
it's
no,
for the
no.
better.
No, I get it. But it does, I mean, as of now, where you are, it has character. Who else in Florida do you think should be added to the Michelin Guide?
Oh, Recoveco wasn't.
They weren't.
I like them. I like Nico and Teta. Like,
Yeah,
so
I think
they do good stuff. So, and we only went to the
Yeah.
friends and family. Like they're open the same days that we're open. So
Yeah.
it's like impossible.
Yeah, I mean, I think Recoveco should be there.
For us to go, so.
Agree.
For sure. I mean, who else? It's kind of,
It's funny because you're talking to people that really
Yeah.
don't go out much.
yeah, we haven't been to Recoveco since Friends and Family. Like it's just like we work on the same day, so it's hard for us to go.
Yeah,
I
they
want to
only
go.
do Wednesday
Yeah.
through Saturday, right? Or Thursday through Saturday.
Yes,
No, Wednesday,
Wednesday
Saturday.
to Saturday. The
Wednesday,
same thing we do. It's like 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
I think they should be added.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
think so too. I think they do great stuff. I think it's like similar sort of ethos of where you're sourcing ingredients and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know too much about what's going on in restaurants in northern Florida, like central to northern Florida.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with those
You know,
either.
well, I mean, actually, no, Mass. I know Mass should
but,
probably.
right, but North Florida. I was thinking like Jackson.
No, but you're going back to the original, like, who else should be
for
at
sure.
it? Like,
Yeah,
they're
they're going to be the
think
next,
Mass.
the Broward's first one. That's
Yeah, I think they Rhino Tino does a good job. I have reservations there. Not this coming. It has 2 Mondays from now or 3 Mondays. Yeah, I'm getting married on the 22nd, so the 24th we're eating there. So it'll be nice.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I'm
Thank
going
you.
a couple of days later.
Oh, nice.
On the same, like Wednesday or Thursday.
I want to.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this is gimmicky. I don't know. I just don't know the word for it. The foie macaron. I love macarons. Are like one of my favorite desserts. Just like I'm not a sweet person, so I I just like one bite. So I'm like, okay, let me see what that's about. I want to see what it's.
It's my favorite.
What it's about.
And I keep saying I'm going to go back on one day and just get like 4 for me.
Strike gimmicky
But-
from the record. That was the incorrect phrasing.
No, it's actually, I think it's just very well done.
Yeah,
And
it looks tasty.
And a lot of the times it's the first bite you get, so it
Mhm.
kind of sets the tone.
Mm-hmm.
And an issue that they've had is they don't, or now they're explaining it, but in the beginning, diners don't understand the snacks are not appetizers.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Yeah.
so they would get, and then they literally bring them like one macaron, and a lot of the other bites were like that, and so people are like, "This is appetizer. It's like one thing."
Yeah.
Mhm.
So now they're like explaining, well, there's snacks, and then you have the appetizers, and it's a whole different thing, but it sets the tone for. Oh, I think so good.
Yeah, sometimes you just need like one nice little bite. So
Yeah.
I'm getting that for sure when I
You
get.
have to get
I'm
that,
getting
yeah.
that for sure.
If you like, and you like peanut, it's like peanut butter and jelly, basically what you're eating.
Oh, my fiance's gonna have a blast. She loves peanut butter and
She's
jelly.
gonna want like 3 or 4. Oh, just thinking about it. It's okay. Yeah, that I'm hoping that the Michelin guy will do another round of additions, like who we're adding to the guy, like kind of teaser
Mm-hmm.
things, and then they'll add like a recoveco. I know in New York they did like 3. So I mean, I know we're not New York sized, but 3 teasers of like rounds of names.
But you have multiple cities in Florida now that are
yeah.
being like
Yeah.
added.
That's
So,
why
I
they
would
haven't
assume-
said anything about Mas.
I would
It's
assume
just
that they're gonna add.
But they mentioned not just Miami, though.
No,
They mentioned like
it was Miami, the usual Miami, Tampa, Orlando.
Miami, Tampa,
and then I
Orlando.
was waiting for this announcement, and then this happened, but now I'm waiting for like another round of.
so
Teasers.
Broward Tampa is gonna be Broward and
Palm Beach.
is gonna be this year
this
as
year,
well.
and then next year it's all of Florida's
Oh,
game.
so they're probably gonna announce again because
They already announced that both
No.
that in 26 is going to be the whole state.
Oh no, what I'm saying is like they're probably gonna do another teaser because they didn't say anything about
They didn't say anything about Broward and Palm Beach.
about Broward and Palm Beach.
Yeah.
So
But I'm hoping that they still add like more Miami names. We'll see.
yeah, cool.
Yeah. So anyone else come to mind besides that? Those no.
Besides those two, no. I mean, I just feel bad not knowing what the
No,
hell is
that's
going on.
How do you spend your limited time off? Doing podcasts.
Well, I just spend my days with my family. Yeah, I have 2 kids, wife,
Mhm.
so yeah.
Home. What do you guys just
Home.
relax at home? Yeah.
Well, mostly home, like we'll see you out to,
Mhm.
a park or, I don't know, somewhere for her to play and we'll just make food at home. Like Sundays are normally like a home day. And then, I don't know, Mondays we'll go maybe somewhere else. But yeah, mostly we spend time together, yeah.
Tends to be the same minus the kids
For now.
for now. Yeah, just tend to stay at home, chill, cook something nice, and maybe take the dog to play fetch or something. And I hang out with family, like if my parents are doing something or my suegros are doing something. So we tend to do that, but pretty chill.
Good.
Need to decompress,
I know. What do you want guests to know that I haven't already covered?
I don't know.
Yeah, everything's gonna be good. People come in a little weary. I was already said it, but people come in a little weary and then they relax into it. Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna take care of you. It's gonna be good. You're gonna have fun.
I was surprised to hear that actually, because I mean,
Yeah, no, we have a lot of people.
It's
that
not like
come
your
in.
disfrutar. Like that concept
Yeah.
is. I'm going in wearing whenever I do because that's like. But
Yeah,
you're not known
I
for
don't
being
know,
like a
it's just-
gimmicky,
yeah.
crazy kind of dining. you
It's
know?
just like, I think it's just like it's a little confusing because they don't see any name now, so they're like this.
Oh, actually, that's what I want. That's
You
what
know,
we
like
want
they
guests to know.
I would say the experience is starts kind of a little weird because they can't find the
Right,
place,
right,
right?
right,
So
right.
they're like, where is this? And then they see the Tinta y Cafe sign and they don't know what's going on. We have people that just open the door and then just walk in all the way to the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, where you going? Then they come back and we're like, well, I'm looking for EntreNos. It's like,
You
it's
found
right
it.
here. It's,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I thought it was just like, there was a back door that we would open.
Oh,
and
like
then
an
that would,
omakase
Yeah.
kind of hidden
Yeah.
concept speakeasy.
We're
Got
like-
it.
We're like, no, this is it.
Because we say we're inside Tinta y Cafe, and but they think that it's like
Like
it is
hidden
like
and-
like
and-
they
and-
yeah.
Yeah, so they sit
wait,
down
wait.
and their faces, you see their faces, you know, they're kind of like, they don't know, they're not sure what's going on. They're not, they're not like, am I at the right spot?
Right.
What is going on here? And then when they had the food, you can see like the transition into like being more like worried, I would say, and then being happy, right? So it's like once they
Okay.
try the food, they go like,
Okay.
okay, you know,
Yeah.
and like it's a good thing, you know, it's a good thing, but it's just like I don't know.
I do have three things that I
It's
want
part
guests
of
to know.
Mhm. Yes.
One, we are inside Tinta Cafe. There is no sign. Two, parking everywhere is free.
It's free.
no need to ask us anymore if parking is free.
I
Or-
think I've been paying. No.
Where? There's no way.
There's
You
no-
cannot.
there's no
sign.
thing?
There's
not,
nothing.
Not a
There's-
single
sure?
one.
There's
Okay.
not a single.
I'm positive.
You
No?
didn't pay.
You
Okay.
did not pay.
You cannot. There's no way for you to pay. So.
Things I want Brenda to know.
You gave a random man your money for no reason.
No.
You paid. So there is no sign.
Okay.
Parking is free,
Yeah.
and we cannot serve you coffee at the end of your meal, unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah.
So even though there's a $20,000 machine, but I
Yeah.
do not want to be held responsible for
And
that
Oh.
$20,000 machine.
Right.
And
I get it.
And one last thing is like everything that we use, because we say that we source everything within Florida, but we didn't go into specifics of this. So like everything that we use in the restaurant comes from like organic, some biodynamic farms here in restaurants. So like you are having the best quality produce that you can find in Florida. Like this is like 100% sure. Like you can like quote me on this. It's like we are sourcing from one of the best farmers here in South Florida. We're sourcing the best fish that you can find in any restaurant. We are like picking this fish ourselves in the morning. Like we're choosing and picking the fresh, like the best, like out of the water fish. We're sourcing the best product that we can get. So like we're in a cafe, but you are having a very high quality like products, you know, on with your meal. So that you should know.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Thank you guys for
Yeah.
coming in today and chatting with me. I really love it, and I love EntreNos. So I hope our listeners get to go out and not pay for parking, and, like Brenda thinks she had. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. I know I say this all the time, but I really mean it. Please share your favorite episodes with friends on social media. And it's the best way to spread the word, and it helps the podcast. Until next time, cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Woo! Did it. That's it. Go, go, go.